The richest people you know nothing about. Real wealth doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't show off. It builds quietly, behind thrift store hoodies and aging Toyotas. This is low-key wealth, the kind that chooses financial freedom over social applause. You've seen it. The person who looks average, eats modestly, drives old, but silently owns the building you rent from. While others chase image, they build assets. While others brag, they invest. Low-key wealth isn't a trend. It's a strategy, a way of living that prioritizes ownership, privacy, and control. In a culture obsessed with status, it's the ultimate power move. This article reveals 6 golden rules that guide the silently wealthy. Not for flex, not for followers, but for anyone serious about real, lasting wealth. Welcome to 86 Dawn Finance YouTube channel, where we break down the hidden mechanisms controlling your financial life. Let's break it all down. No fluff, just the truth. Section 1. Stay quiet about your money. The first rule of low-key wealth is this: talk less. The wealthiest people aren't broadcasting their bank balances, they're protecting them. Because every time you brag about your investments, your net worth, or your next big play, you're giving away more than you think. Information becomes vulnerability, and the real rich hate vulnerability. This isn't just philosophy, it's protection. According to a 2022 report by the Federal Trade Commission, over $8.8 billion was lost to fraud in the U.S., much of it targeting visible wealth. The louder your financial life is, the more it attracts leeches, copycats, and opportunists. That's why real wealth hides behind silence. It doesn't need to prove itself. Think of it like encryption. When you walk into a room and no one knows what you own, that's power. Because while others are flexing their gains, you're gathering information, you're listening, you're learning, and you're moving in silence. Low-key wealth is strategic. It's asymmetric. You want to know everything about them, and let them know nothing about you. In poker, the one talking the most usually loses. In wealth, the same rule applies. Section 2. Dress like you're broke. Build like you're wealthy. Here's a brutal truth. If your clothes are louder than your portfolio, you're doing it backwards. The second rule of low-key wealth is to stop dressing for applause and start dressing for freedom. Because every dollar you spend to look rich is a dollar that could have been invested to become rich. Warren Buffett wears off the rack suits. Mark Zuckerberg rotates the same gray shirt. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio has called material status symbols a distraction from the pursuit of real value. Why? Because dressing plainly offers 2 strategic advantages. It reduces decision fatigue and it protects your leverage. People judge you as average, and that's exactly what you want. This isn't about looking poor. It's about being underestimated. When no one expects you to own the room, you control the narrative. When you don't scream success, you gain room to move without being watched. It's called stealth positioning, and it works. Instead of spending $600 on designer sneakers, put it into a boring S&P 500 ETF. The shoes will wear out. The compounding won't. Low-key wealth plays the long game. Looking average buys you time. That time, invested wisely, will make you unreasonably wealthy. Section 3. Hide your money in boring places. If your wealth lives on your wrist, in your driveway, or on your Instagram, it's not wealth, it's exposure. Rule 3 of low-key wealth is simple. Invest where no one is looking. The stealth rich hide their money in boring places. Index funds, tax-advantaged retirement accounts, cash-flowing rental units, quiet little businesses no one brags about. Because boring gets rich while flashy gets watched. A report by Vanguard shows that long-term index fund investors outperform most actively managed portfolios. Why? Because they play for consistency, not clout. They understand the real flex isn't explosive gains, it's financial insulation. It's sleeping well at night while your assets compound silently in the background. The stealth wealthy don't chase trends. They skip crypto hype trains and meme stock drama. While others bought JPEGs of cartoon monkeys, they bought self-storage units and laundromats. These assets don't trend on Twitter, but they do pay monthly. Here's the play. Park your capital in places no one asks about. Let people underestimate you while you quietly build equity. Invisibility is protection. Boredom is profitability. And the most dangerous person in the financial game is the one who's already won, and no one knows it. Section 4. Never finance status. If you're borrowing money to look rich, you're not building wealth. You're building a time bomb. Rule 4 of low-key wealth is to never finance status. Because the moment you trade future income for present appearance, you lock yourself into a lifestyle that owns you. According to Experian, the average American carries over $6 in credit card debt and over $700 in monthly auto loan payments. That's not wealth. That's slavery in monthly installments. The stealth wealthy live by one code. If they can't pay for it twice in cash, they don't buy it once. No car notes, no luxury leases, no financing handbags for strangers on Instagram to admire. Every financed item becomes a leash on your freedom, your focus, and your future. The stealth rich drive old cars and own rental property. They skip first class to buy cash-flowing assets. They aren't trying to impress anyone. They're trying to escape the need to. Here's the mental reframe. That $1.200 car payment could be a mortgage on your first income property. That designer outfit could be 10 shares of Apple. And that ego boost you get from flexing? It fades. But dividends don't. Freedom doesn't come from financing lifestyle. It comes from owning reality. Section 5. Build a circle that doesn't worship appearances. You can't live low-key if your circle runs on flex culture. Rule 5 of low-key wealth is to protect your environment like you protect your investments. Because the people around you will either fuel your freedom or sabotage it without even realizing it. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research found that people conform to the spending behaviors of their peers, even when it leads to poor financial outcomes. Translation: if your friends burn money to impress strangers, you'll eventually follow suit just to belong. But if your circle talks about dividend yields instead of designer labels, your net worth will follow a different path. Low-key wealth doesn't grow in loud rooms. It grows in quiet circles where no one cares how much you make. Only what you're building. Where frugality is admired, not mocked. Where ambition is measured in assets, not attention. Real-life example. Derek made 6 figures but stayed broke because his friends made fun of his budget. When he joined a low-key real estate mastermind, everything changed. 4 years later, he's debt-free with 5 income properties. His old crew, still financing image, still living month to month. If your circle doesn't align with your goals, it's not loyalty, it's limitation. Section 6. Let time compound everything. The final rule of low-key wealth isn't glamorous. It's not about timing the market or finding the next unicorn. It's about letting time do the heavy lifting. Because the wealthiest people don't hustle harder, they compound smarter. A 2023 study by Fidelity showed that the best-performing investors weren't the most active. In fact, some of the top accounts belonged to people who forgot they had investments. Why? Because time, not tactics, is the ultimate multiplier. The stealth wealthy understand this. They don't check their portfolios daily. They build systems and step back. Here's how the game works. Quiet money grows slowly. Then suddenly, the boring index fund becomes $1 million retirement. The modest duplex turns into an empire. The small business equity compounds year after year until you're earning while sleeping. Low-key wealth isn't a sprint. It's a snowball. And the only people who never see results are the ones who keep interrupting it. Let go of the need for speed. Stop switching strategies every time a new trend goes viral. Pick proven vehicles. Be patient. Let compound interest, business cash flow, and quiet discipline carry you. The loudest people chase the quick hit. The stealth wealthy collect slow wins and own the game in silence. Conclusion. Real wealth doesn't announce itself. In a world obsessed with visibility, low-key wealth is rebellion. But it's the kind of rebellion that builds empires behind closed doors. The richest people rarely look the part. And that's the point. As Credit Suisse's 2022 Global Wealth Report noted, true millionaires often live in modest homes, drive average cars, and quietly dominate in the background. Stealth wealth is more than a tactic, it's a worldview. It prioritizes privacy over performance, ownership over illusion, and freedom over followers. It doesn't seek validation, it seeks control. If you follow these 6 rules, you won't need to prove anything. Your balance sheet will do the talking. So skip the spotlight, ignore the noise, build in silence, and when the time is right, let your wealth whisper what your ego never needs to say. Because the richest move quietly, and that's exactly why they stay rich. Please note that 86 Dawn Finance does not offer advice on taxes, legal matters, investments, or finances. The content is intended solely for educational purposes and should not be considered professional advice. For personalized guidance, please consult your own qualified advisors. Although the information has been carefully researched and reviewed, it may not represent the latest legal or financial updates. Viewers are advised to confirm the accuracy and timeliness of the information, particularly before making any major financial or legal decisions. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and stay our 86 Dawn Finance channel.